are these people?
We've talked about stuff like this or relation to this before, although your your image looks like a Voltron lion or a Power Rangers Zord. Which is it?
I mean, it's a Robo-Dog. So here's a story by Caitlin Johnstone about, you know, terrors beyond our comprehension. You know, so lovely technology does things for us. So we're going to get into it, but you know, Robo-Dog, I don't know. I don't know if Voltron has something this is like definitely the evil Voltron thing. Like, was there an evil Voltron? Like, I feel like Power Rangers had an evil Megazord, but
oh sure, yeah, I'm not sure
twice.
about Voltron though, but yeah, either way, it looks like a lion from Voltron to me. So is that what the AI came with when you put in Robo-Dog?
Yes, I had trouble trying to get it to, but I got here and was like, perfect, that will work. So this is what they actually look like, right? So
right.
Caitlin Johnstone writes, they're experimenting with military robots in Gaza now, right? This is March 4th, not too long ago. So I love how she's just like, yep, that's what they're doing. I don't know how else to, that's, you know. So she continues, Haaretz has a new article out titled Gaza becomes Israel's testing ground for military robots, which reports that in an effort to avoid harming soldiers and dogs, the IDF has been experimenting with the use of robots and remote-controlled dogs in the Gaza war.
Oh, so God forbid that we actually kill our own. So we're just going to send mechanical robots of dog and probably humans at some point to do our dirty work for us. Okay.
Yep. One of the most horrifying facts about the dystopia we live in is that large-scale military operations are routinely used as testing grounds for new war machinery, using human bodies as guinea pigs for experimentation in what amounts to giant blood-soaked field laboratories, all to benefit the strategic objectives of empire managers and the profit margins of the military-industrial complex. So, K-Bear, you want to see what one of these is capable of? I know you do.
Sure.
This is like the bottom of what it's capable of. So let's this is a nice
shout
little
out to Hotspot and shout out to Crab.
EOTech Red Dot.
Yeah.
But
shout out to Crab for giving this to us via Hotspot.
Yep, very useful.
Okay.
I mean,
first of all, it doesn't even, the gait is not even like a dog. It's like a deer or something.
Yeah, it's
like
the reverse knee.
Right. You know? Also, it looks fake. It looks so fake. It looks real, like AI, like CGI. But oh my god.
And this is just, Collin, this was like, I know this footage is old because I remember seeing it then. These have gotten better. Right. Also, this is just, you know, M16 on here.
Right.
It's just a rifle.
Right.
I don't know. Put an RPG on it. Put you know,
straight up cannon.
Minigun. Right. Like you know, and the only thing it needs to do is be able to sit in place and fire something.
Right.
You know. And this can go, I mean, just about into any building. I know they have little arms for them to grab door handles and stuff like that.
Oh god.
Right? So, you know, or other things. But yeah, I mean, also, how well can it aim? It has robotic aim.
Right.
So, it could theoretically make shots that humans couldn't.
Right.
So yeah, like a little 40 mil grenade launcher right into your living room from the Robo-Dog. So just super fun things. And we've covered loads of this kind of stuff before, so it's nothing new to us, but
no.
Which we've covered. Haaretz has a new article out titled Gaza becomes Israel's testing ground for military robots, which reports that in an effort to avoid harming soldiers. We read that. So the news comes out at the same time as the new public citizen report, which I think you covered. We covered one of these. Warning of the likely imminent arrival of autonomous weapon systems, which will kill people with minimal instruction from human pilots. Saying the most serious worrying involving autonomous weapons is that they inherently dehumanize the people targeted and make it easier to tolerate widespread killing, including in violation of international human rights law. So,
right. Yeah, think about it. Like, like this is the swerve. Like, oh, it's not like, and this I can see Israel being like, well, it's not humans that's killing it; it's robots.
Technical difficulties,
right?
So they have had, Collin. We've covered it on How Do We Miss That. They have facial targeted AI selected rifle aiming systems at checkpoints in Gaza.
Right.
They have. Between Thales and Elbit and loads of these companies, they are more than willing to try and, try their new wares. So we know they've been using AI targeting systems for bombs. We know that's a thing. In fact, one of the people speaking at the Daniel Hale thing, the Aaron Bushnell thing not that long ago, was talking about, the Air Force has things to see in every building ever. They know exactly what they're bombing.
Right.
So.
And speaking of Elbit, we've covered them, and then we had guests, from the Charleston protests, who mentioned this. As well, tomorrow, and I forgot the guy's name. Sorry. They mentioned about Elbit as well. And I think I sent this to you via Mint Press News, I think on Monday, that the UK has awarded Elbit with a new contract.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like we talked about Thales before too, and Paradise bombed, right? They were ones doing that along with suppliers from China. So the more normalized robots become with the world's militaries, the closer we come to the point, and steps are already being taken in that direction. As Common Dreams Thor Benson notes in an article about the Public Citizen Report, Israel has purchased and at times deployed self-piloting lethal drones. Back in January, Caitlin wrote that Gaza is a live laboratory for the military-industrial complex, saying data is with absolute certainty being collected on all the newer weapons being field tested on human bodies in Gaza, just like has been happening in Ukraine, to be used to benefit the war machine and arms industry. What sparked this comment at the time was reports and first-hand witness accounts we'd seen coming out the prolific use of IDF sniper drones in Gaza since October, with Israeli forces frequently shooting Palestinians with quad drones armed with rifles. Copious records are most assuredly being compiled on the effectiveness of these newer weapons and tactics in ending human lives, which will then be used to help market those weapons to other states and to improve their efficiency in killing. So I wanted to shout this guy out. So this was a Google engineer, and with these newfound technologies, you might get people willing to not be for that. So, did you watch this yet, Care Bear? Did you see this?
No.
I'm a Google Cloud software engineer, and I refuse to build technology that powers genocide, apartheid, or surveillance. Project Nimbus puts Palestinian community members in danger. I refuse to build technology that's going to be used for cloud apartheid. No cloud for apartheid. No tech for apartheid. Free Palestine.
Be resilient and keep on.
Google is complicit in Israeli genocide.
Wow.
Yeah. Remember, Google used to have a thing on their book saying, "Don't be evil." They took that out. The joke writes itself. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, so, yeah. So Caitlin continues. When I say this is most assuredly happening, I am not being hyperbolic for effect. Author and journalist Anthony Lowenstein gave a lengthy interview on the Chris Hedges report back in December about Israel's long and extensively documented history. We linked this article in the chat below. If you want to actually go watch this interview, it's linked in that article. Of using Gaza as a testing ground for new weapons, spyware, surveillance, and security systems, AI drones, and tactics, which has profited scores of corporations and enabled Israel to become a player of outside success in the global weapons industry. Israel's drones surveillance technology, including spyware, facial recognition software, biometric gathering infrastructure, along with smart fences, experimental bombs, and AI-controlled machine guns, are all tried out on the captive population in Gaza, often with lethal results, says Hedges in introduction. These weapons and technologies are then certified as battle-tested and sold around the world. This doesn't only happen in Gaza. This past September, the Wall Street Journal published an article titled, "The War in Ukraine is also a giant arms fair," subtitled, "Arms makers are getting orders for weapons being put to the test on the battlefield." In January of last year, CNN published a report titled, "How Ukraine Became a Test Bed for Western Weapons and Battlefield Innovation," with one source saying that Ukraine is absolutely a weapons lab in every sense because none of this equipment has ever actually been used in a war between two industrially developed nations. Okay. And of course, we are also seeing the same phenomenon, and guess where, Care Bear?
Africa.
In 2021, Mint Press News published a report by Scott Timke titled, "West Africa is the latest testing ground for U.S. military artificial intelligence." About this very same trend in 2020, Libya saw what is believed to have been the first time a human has ever been killed by a fully automated drone attack. Look at that, Care Bear. Black people being the first to do something again. Damn. That is killed without the machine having been told to do so by a human. Yay.
Congratulations!
The other day, we discussed how the Empire's great weakness is that it depends on normal human beings to carry out its orders and turn the gears of the machine. If you look at the facts and think about them for a moment, it's not hard to see how the Empire managers are hoping to overcome this weakness in the future. So, speaking of weaknesses, Care Bear, I can't let us have shitty future horrors without some possible ways to deal with them. So this is Wrangle Star, who is a weird Christian homesteader, but you know, he does things like this that are useful on occasion. So I'll let him tell you. Look, it's the robot dog. Look, we saw them earlier, right?
Battery and CPU are located approximately right here. The limb articulators are located at the top of the four limbs. I would recommend 62 grain green tip penetrators because they will be armor plated. If you don't have access to that, paintball will be effective in disabling the cameras. However, it's easily reversible. Another option will be to do a mix, 50-50 mix of old engine oil, oil-based paint, black, and a good dose of sand into a balloon. The sand will scratch up and gum up the works, and the paint will be very difficult to remove. Act accordingly.
I mean, just some, you know, homeowner hacks. Okay, Bear. So, you know. But yeah. So thoughts?
We're in Skynet.
Yeah, it's already here, baby.
It's already here.
You know?
I mean, we've talked about Robo-Dogs, AI drone, like, you know,
Time to
it
start
still
making
feels
your
very
own.
much
That's
Right,
how
but
John
it's
Connor
still
beat Terminator. He got a Terminator to use against the Terminators. That's
right.
how he did that.
But I think the most significant thing again is how will this, in terms of international law, like
Mhm.
how will this affect, even any ruling moving forward, especially given that tech, you can make it, as you said, the technicality. Oh, it wasn't a human that killed this person; it was a robot that killed the person. Obviously, the robot had to be controlled by said human in
And
order to
programmed
do it.
with very particular. Yep.
But but Caitlin brought up a good point as far as the law. I'm sure international law, when it comes to stuff like this, it's going to take a while for them to catch up to this idea.
Mhm.
But can you imagine the carnage that can happen in between all of that, for that to kind of take effect? And I can't imagine that's not going to happen anytime soon. I'm sure not within the next decade or so, depending, how well the technology
Well,
is with these
this is the
robots.
problem
And
with
then,
technology. It's always exploited by the capitalist in power for war and for nefarious means. This could be used for all sorts of actual beneficial things for humans, right?
right,
Like, it's not. It's being used to murder our fellow man,
right. And I sent a
so
tweet out
make
earlier
profit for
today.
someone.
I sent a tweet out earlier today in regards to another issue, but it relates to this. Like I basically said, what happens on the federal level in terms of how our parties handle their business will eventually kind of trickle down on a local level. And
Mhm.
I made the example,
Oh, cops will definitely be
given
using this shit.
exactly,
Yeah.
but I made the example earlier today that so just more local news for me that DC my DC council just passed a policing bill that essentially gives police more power and less accountability in terms of how they handle, make arrests and all this kind of stuff. So so I made the argument that this is in a lot of ways a result of Biden militarizing funding the police more. It's given our local governments, especially, like ones if populations that have a large concentration of people of color, most notably, I think in my case, Black people, how Biden has basically put out there or has funded the police, at least on the federal level, more. That's translated to people, politicians on the local level wanting to push for, especially now with an uptick in crime in many major cities. The push now is, obviously more cops, and not just more cops, being able to give them more toys or more power in order to, oppress the working class even more. So yeah, I mean, there was, I think, a famous tweet on this of like a Robo-Dog walking in New
Mhm.
York City, I think maybe a year or so ago. But yeah, this is going to become more commonplace. Like you're not going to see Robo-Dog necessarily roaming around like in a rich neighborhood. I can maybe, but I can see it more likely, in a low income neighborhood,
Yeah.
especially for cops who may be afraid to kind of enter into said low income neighborhoods. Just send in the dogs to do your dirty
Yeah.
work.
I mean, send them to places where humans can't go, nuclear silos, that kind of stuff, you know, but here is
Right,
just,
but it just shows like we're willing to spend more money for the tech to oppress people
yeah.
rather than give more money. And I made the argument in terms of crime, you're more willing to arm cops and give
Mhm.
them the toys versus giving people money that will possibly do more and lessen crime. That's an issue for
Well,
you, but you're
yeah.
willing
I
to do
mean,
that for the cops.
blood money gets a return on investment here in the States. So, as they are more than willing to tell you, especially with, did you see that? Where they've been arguing that the money to Ukraine and Palestine and Gaza are like coming back to us. That's all American weapons contractors, and it's you know, jobs for us and whatever. Like they're trying to make a fucking, it's a good thing. So, but yeah. Speaking of money, YouTube won't give us any, so we had to go elsewhere. You know, you can go to code-fee.com/Indie News Network or scan the QR code on your screen, or if you're in the chat, hit !donate and it'll send you a link. You know, you might get something fun come up on screen. I don't know. I don't know how these things work, but you know, we have goals.
You do. We want people to test it. We want people to test it. So
yeah, you know, put a little cash in there, see what happens. But yeah, you know, you can also not forget to like and subscribe. You know, please share. We're heavily suppressed, and every little bit helps, especially to get this number to go up. More people subscribe. We'd like to get to 2K pretty soon. It would be very useful. So appreciate all the people that are already subscribed.